Start the recording.
Okay. Real bad.
Hi, YouTube.
Hello. Sniffing's real bad for the audios.
Join in, just let me know.
Yeah, loud
starting
noises.
right now. Don't say anything else.
I won't say anything else.
Hi, Ray. All right, here we go on the audio parts. If you haven't already started.
I haven't.
No.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Welcome, friends, to episode number 80 of the South Dakota Gamer Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chad. I didn't say my name last week. Joining us this week,
Guess
as
what?
always,
I have to point it out already because this is really cool.
Dave Mann.
Our podcast started 4 ago.
I was thinking the same thing.
Actually, like 4 episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with
Not
years. It'd be a long time.
Also,
Before
that
the
other voice
technology.
you heard was Josh Owens.
That's my name.
That's his name. So we will hit episode, if we don't miss a week, through the holidays and everything here, over the next 20 weeks, we will hit episode number 100 the second week of January.
What are we going to do?
Whoop, whoop.
I don't know. What can we do?
We have
gotta
to
have a
figure out a way
party.
to all get together. We have to figure out a way to podcast in the same room, all 3.
For that particular episode?
Second week of January.
It's like January 9th.
Let's make episode 100 something that's special, not specifically. It doesn't have to be specific to the news that particular week. That way, between now and then, if we can manage to all get together, we can record it
Sure.
and then release it. How about
Sure.
that?
That's a good
But
idea.
now our
That
plan's
was a
out in the
look.
open.
That was a
Oh.
look for everybody way behind the curtain.
Yeah. An evergreen topic, if you will.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've got 20 weeks to figure that out, or less,
Get
so we should work on that. We should totally work on that.
Yeah.
But while we work on how we're going to do our 100th episode, you can help us get to that 100th episode by going over to patreon.com/South Dakota Gamer and tossing us a buck or two.
Great segue.
Yeah, that worked out good. I was happy with that one.
Or $1 million.
Or $1 million. We will not turn away any money. How about that?
Nope.
No,
True.
any denomination. We will take it. So head on over there if you want to help us pay for the podcast hosting. Also do some cool giveaways and things of that nature. I would assume episode 100 will probably give away good
100.
stuff.
We'll give away
things.
100 pennies.
Okay. We will give away things in hundreds.
Yes.
Things in hundreds. Hairs from our faces.
Oh,
Hugs.
gosh.
Hugs. Pennies.
Chad will let somebody touch him on his nose 100 times.
No, that will not happen unless you give $100. $1 per touch.
Would
And if you want to know what that's
would you
about,
take,
check out the Topics Cast at patreon.com/South Dakota Gamer.
Chad, would you really take $100 to let somebody touch your nose 100 times?
I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
I feel like you hate it
Probably.
way more than that.
Yeah, I'm like touching it now because it's just freaking me out. So yeah, go ahead and head
I'd
over
let people
there.
touch me otherwhere for $100.
Whoa! But for now,
Otherwhere is not a
Otherwhere.
word, by the way.
I was going to let that slide. And not call you out.
otherwhere.
What does
So-
that even mean?
We are coming up on the fall gaming season. We're about to dive headfirst into empty pocketbooks to pay for our habits and our hobbies. And so we're going to start talking about some notable games that are going to be released. This podcast will be recorded for August 23rd, which is the release date for 3 notable games that I kind of pulled out of the hat, or actually the list on the internets. First one is Madden 17. That's typically the game that
Sports.
signifies the fall gaming season. And so that's coming out this week, Madden 17. Also, Inside is coming out for the PlayStation 4.
I'll
That's
play
a
through it
real cool
again.
game. Yeah, I would too.
Does that seem quicker to you guys than you expected?
Yeah, it totally does. And I think we talked about that when we figured out the release date. But it's, it seemed to be a Microsoft exclusive game, and then 2 months later,
Doesn't
a
even make
month and a half.
sense. It makes sense why they would even.
I
be
mean,
exclusive.
I'm sure the developer was like, hey, we really want to sell our game to more people.
Totally.
But I would have expected it to be exclusive for a lot longer.
I mean, it does make sense if that's all they had to do to get extra money from Microsoft, then yeah, do it, I guess.
I guess, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't see any other reason why they would have done it that way.
Had to have been. Had to have been. I mean, I suppose this Limbo was exclusive for a while.
Right.
That obviously came out on
For like
PlayStation
over
4
a year.
recently too.
Like over a year.
Quite a lot longer. So, anyways, and then finally, Deus Ex, as Dave says, Mankind Divided.
Hey, I didn't say it like that on the podcast, Chad. And why do I sound like Kevin?
Deus Ex, Mankind Divided also comes out on the 23rd.
Which is getting a lot of praise, I'm hearing.
Very good reviews across the board. Very interesting. So, did you guys play the first one?
I played
I did.
Human Revolution. Is that the first one?
I think that was the one it was called.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you play a lot of it? Did you like it?
I admittedly didn't give it a lot of time.
Same
it
here.
was a little too heavy on the RPG elements for me.
Huh.
I wanted more of a shooter. So I didn't give it a lot of time. I would be willing to revisit it.
Sure.
Yeah, I didn't even know what it was when I got it. When I tried it, I'm assuming I rented it because I never owned it. And so I kind of had the same take as Josh, where it was a little bit more than what I was expecting. And I wasn't used to playing a big RPG like that. But now that I've got some under my belt, games like The Witcher and stuff, now The Witcher 3, and I'm really looking forward to it. I don't think I finished the first one. I did like it, but there was so much to it that I wasn't really prepared to deal with.
Yeah.
And
I think that was the problem I had with it. Like I wasn't prepared to learn like all the systems that it was trying to teach, and so I think I lost interest pretty quickly. But
I
think that was my fault, not the game's fault.
Yeah.
Same.
So those are the three kind of notable games that are coming out this week. Obviously, there are other ones, but I don't know. I didn't like going through the list of every game when we were doing that, so we stopped. So those are the games we can play starting tomorrow. But until then, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing this last week.
Oh, yeah.
This segment, as always, is brought to you by the East Coast Candle Company. You can head on over to eastcoastcandleco.com to pick out your favorite candles for any season and any time. They have real good candles. I have one. It smells great. I like it when I light it. It smells like coffee. That's one I got. You know this already if you listen. I still have it, so I should burn it more so I can get another one. And
Burn
so
stuff
should
and
you.
put it in your nose.
So should you.
That's not smart.
That's their slogan, I think.
Yep. You
Sorry.
heard it here first.
Yep.
That's
Sorry,
their
we're getting into games that we played. Obviously, I don't want to step on East Coast Candle Company.
That is all I have to say about the East
Great.
Coast Candle Company, and they want to know, what have we been playing lately? So let's just all say it at the same time.
There we go.
1, 2, 3.
No Man's
Sky. Yep.
Literally is all we've
I
played.
was laughing because you know how earlier I found like the biggest animal I'd ever seen, and I saved a picture of it, but I didn't send it to Chad. And then like literally the next morning I woke up, Chad had sent me a message that says, "This is the biggest thing I've ever seen." I just saw Ray, who was on the podcast last week, who heard us talk about No Man's Sky and had to play it, so he had me create him a PSN profile and played it for several hours one day. And now is playing it again, and just saw seriously like a Brachiosaurus-sized creature.
Nice.
That I've never seen anything this big. And he shot it. Did it kill you?
No.
He shot it, and it came charging at him. I was laughing.
I still haven't encountered anything that big. I'm kind of
It was
jealous.
gigantic.
Yeah,
I've encountered big
I've-
things, but not like that size.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
But yeah, No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. This is our No Man's Sky moment. We talked about this last week, that for the future, we don't really know how long, but as long as we're playing it pretty consistently, we're going to have a segment where we talk about specifically No Man's Sky. So the What We've Been Playing segment will transition to the No Man's Sky moment. Before we get there, though, I will mention I was going to play the Titanfall 2 testing thing that they're doing this last weekend and next weekend. I downloaded it. It was 12 point some odd gigs. Took a good amount of time to download, and while I was letting it download, I was playing No Man's Sky. And when it finished downloading, it says, "Hey, it's done downloading. You can come start this game now." And I didn't, because I was playing No Man's Sky. So That's there. Maybe I'll play it next weekend, but I did not play it this last weekend. I've heard some good things about it, though. People seem to like that game. So,
Looks good.
but, okay, No Man's Sky moment. The reviews. I wanted to talk about the reviews kind of started to come out last week, shortly after our podcast, from the big video game websites and their thoughts and concerns and things they liked and didn't like about it. And I have 3 listed here. There have been more since then that have come out. And there's a couple that don't give number grades to it, but just kind of say, yeah, it's good, or play it, or don't play it. First of all, so we have IGN. Gave it a 6.0, which I believe is good. GameSpot gave it a 7.
Let's be honest. Like, according to their rating,
yes,
it's good because 5 is middle of the road, but for an IGN score, that's not good. Realistically,
right? Like, it falls in their quote unquote good category, but when you look at how they usually grade, the 6s aren't the best of games. Right. GameSpot gave it a 7.0, and then Game Informer gave it a 7.5. I read Kotaku's article, which they don't score it, but they gave it. I think they gave it a yes play type thing. They give the pros and cons, and overall, of all the reviews I read, I liked Kotaku's the best. It made the most. Like, he definitely had some issues with it, as most of these people did that reviewed it. But then he kind of came back at it a different angle and told about the things he did like about it, and overall, he did enjoy the game, just depending on kind of his perspective and how he approached it. So, what do you guys think about, not the hate, because it's not getting hate, and obviously it was an overhyped game. It's hard to live up to that. But what do you guys think about the media, the general games media viewpoint of this game and the lack of praise that they have for it?
Like, first of all, I think Sean Murray kind of nailed it when he said that it's going to be divisive.
Yeah.
I think that's because he knew what a lot of these, like, I guess, talking heads and, like, reviewers are saying, which is the hype was so big. Sony got on that train and pushed that game so much and hyped it so big. It's a team of, like, 15 people doing this thing. I think he knew that a lot of people are going to think this is something that it's not. Not that the game. I mean, when you look at the game from, like, the aspect of what it is, it's something that it's never been done before, ever. And Josh has said this, outside of our podcast. It's exactly what we were told it is. It's not really anything more than that. Like, it's not like. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not anything less than what we were told it's going to be.
Sure.
Like, it's procedurally generated. Nobody was acting like that's a super fan. I mean, it's impressive in the way that the computer can do that. 18 quintillion planets, procedurally generated for everybody. That's very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not handcrafted levels where a bunch of people are spending countless hours, designing everything. And which is good, which is what you want in a lot of single player, linear, 20-hour games or whatever. Like, that's nice when you're kind of stuck on a storyline and everything. There would be no possible way for them to even touch that in a game like this. Right. This is like the only way it could be done, and no one's ever done it before. And I mean, it has bugs. It's got some glitches. Every game does now. They've already put out 3 patches? 2 patches?
2, I think, so far. Well, 3 including the day 1.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't understand. I personally, I think that most of the hate is, whether they think so or not, is based on the hype rather than the game.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean, because me and Josh will probably say a lot of the same things. I mean, we both love the game, so all 3 of us love the game. So we're looking at it from the viewpoint that we love it. But I don't think any of us kind of went in with super high expectations. I mean, I should say unrealistic expectations. I mean, we did have high hopes for the game, but for me, it hasn't failed to deliver.
No, I mean, that's exactly what I've been thinking and saying, like, I don't understand. I don't understand where the criticism is coming in. It is exactly what we were told it was going to be, and it's the most, I think, probably safe to say, one of the most, at least, ambitious games that's ever been created.
Yeah.
And like nobody has ever done this before. And I don't understand when you score this game poorly. I don't understand where the score is coming from, because I feel like for you to score this game poorly, you are going into this game expecting it to be not what it is. You're going into this game expecting it to be like another, whatever you're thinking, another Mass Effect or another Minecraft or whatever, instead of taking the game for what it is. Like, instead of just evaluating the game for what it does and what it is, I feel like
comparing it to what you wanted it to be or thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think these scores are coming from a place of, well, it doesn't have this in it, and I wish it did, so I'm going to dock it for that. And it's not like this game, and so I'm going to dock it for this. Where there have been so many times playing this game where I've thought, well, that's kind of inconvenient, and like, I'm not sure I like this. And then after thinking about it, I'm like, no, I totally get it. Like, that's what this game is. Like, the fact that you only, like, it is kind of annoying when you start out that you have so few inventory slots, for example. But it's a survival game. The whole point is like upgrading your exosuit, and then like once you've got a few more slots in your exosuit, life gets much easier. But there's a sense of accomplishment that comes from having 30 some or 40 some or however many slots in your exosuit. Like, how long it took you to get to that point, and like all of the planets you visited in that process, and all of the things you did in that process, and the game is that journey, and not like starting off and everything's super easy. And the fact that the game doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't teach you these systems that are in the game or controls that are in the game. Like, I kind of like that. Like, Chad, you just texted us the other day and was like, hey, did you know that you're supposed to upload this bar, like, to get the completion for like uploading everything on a planet? I was like, no, I had no idea. But I'm sure, like, like you figured that out, like just messing around with the menus and stuff like that. And I'm sure if I had played long enough, like maybe I would have figured that out at some point and been like, oh, that's, da 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 da. But like the sense of discovery is so cool with this game. Like, there are so many things that like maybe you don't know that you can do, or you don't know that something's even in place, and then when you discover it, it's like, oh man, like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, people are overlooking that. I mean, their sense of the word discovery is so shallow, where it's like literally like that is like, well, they didn't tell us about, well, I mean, but that's the whole point of it. This game really is about discovering what you can do. Like, part of I heard somebody word it this way, where I really liked it, where they said, this game is very rewarding for the person that goes all in. Like eventually there's going to be very powerful people that are jumping all over this universe. Like, just the fact that we don't, like we were just talking a few moments ago, we don't even know what's the max on your inventory.
Yeah.
Like, what's the max in your ship inventory? Like, what is we don't know what our limits are, and it's about figuring out what that is.
From what I've read, because I read an article about a guy that maxed out his exosuit and ship inventories.
Oh, really?
Never having left his home planet. Like, he didn't leave his starter planet, and he was like finding wrecked ships and like just mining for resources and selling stuff, and like the things he couldn't mine for, he was buying from the thing. Like, it sounds like he was fortunate in the planet that he landed on, that like
was
things
there
were
a number
available to
that
buy.
You
But
recall,
I think it said 45. I think, if I remember correctly.
I don't think so.
So that seems so bizarre that it's. I mean, like the inventory, like the exosuit, or not the exosuit, whatever what's it called?
Exosuit.
Oh, it is called exosuit. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that, maybe I can understand. Like he flew around and he found all of these things, but like the ship, like there's, I mean,
I'm gonna pull up the article.
He just found enough crashed ships that just upgraded it to the max.
I think I do remember hearing.
It said he
that
kept
same
going
thing.
to those transmission towers.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, he just kept finding. Oh, it was okay. So exosuit inventory to a full 48 slots,
48.
24 slot multi-tool, and a 48 slot starship.
See,
Okay.
I'm already,
Interesting.
I think, at a 20. I know I'm at a 20 plus multi-tool
Multi-tool, yeah.
already.
My multi-tool is the thing that I've been kind of neglecting a little bit. Like, I've got upgrades on it, but I think I've only got 14 slots still.
I haven't looked for it. I've just found them. Josh, did you know? This might be a stupid question because it might have been obvious to you, but in the Atlas devices, when you go in there, you've got the 2 different aliens,
Right.
and you talk to each of them, and each of them will, like, one of them will give you a choice to choose between what you want to help you in your
Right.
journey, and then the other guy.
The priest guy?
No, the priest guy is the one that gives you the choice.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
Gek.
So then, the little Gek that's in there.
I can't remember what he gives you, but then there's
Usually it's like help with language,
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah,
usually some of the...
he wants you to give him like records of your
Right.
discoveries, and then he'll.
Oh, that's right. And then he'll
return
give you
something.
something, yeah.
But did you know there's also like a thing that opens up if you walk up to it? It has a gun in it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that until like my 3rd device.
Yeah. Well, and this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, though. Like, if it this game rewards exploration and discovery, and not just like, yes, you discovered a planet, you discovered species or whatever, but like even in the buildings that seem like they'd be more static and there wouldn't be much going on, like there's stuff all over the place that if you're looking around, like you can find. It's crazy how much. It's really crazy how much is in this game, and I still can't understand the critical reviews of this game.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can see a little bit, but like you guys are saying, I think they're looking at it, comparing it to what they hoped it would be, or what the 2014 E3 gameplay trailer was, and yeah, it's come a long way from that, and maybe it's better in some areas, and maybe it didn't quite live up to what they thought they were going to be able to do. I mean, maybe they had all these plans, and then all of a sudden, yeah, we can't do it. But that doesn't mean the game is a 6. That doesn't mean the game is not good. It's
weird with the way that a lot of people. The hype was all created because there wasn't a lot of stuff said about the game, like actual details. But when you think about it, it's like, what really, like, maybe they handled it the best way that they could, because I'm not trying to make the game sound not exciting, because the excitement is found in things other than this. But the gameplay, which I've heard criticized, is just, you mine, you sell, you go back, you mine more, you sell, you upgrade, you mine more, you sell, you upgrade. And yes, that is like the grinding thing about the game. But if they told us that's what the game was, nobody would have been really excited about that.
Sure.
Even though that's not, I don't want people to think
don't
that's
market
what I'm
that
saying.
part of the game.
Yeah, that's not what the game. That's not all the game is. That's the
Right.
grinding part of the game to get to the exploring, which is what the game's about. And it starts kind of slow because the goal is to build. Yeah, the goal is to build. The payoff is not at the beginning. It's not a quick return.
Right.
Um,
I guess this will transition us into kind of what we've been up to in the game in the last week or so. Do you guys find yourself or foresee yourself getting bored? Are you doing some of the same things over and over again to where it's like, oh, I've seen this guy, I've seen this alien before, or something very similar. Everywhere I go, I get the same planets, I have to get the same stuff. Do you see yourself getting to that point, or are you there yet?
Real quick, between you two guys, because I've been on the road and I've been in Canada, I didn't have service, blah. I've been kind of out of the loop for the last week and a half. What is like in the lineup for patches? Like I think I heard somebody say base building.
Well, Sean Murray said something about base building at some point, I think, right, Chad?
Right.
But I don't think they've said when that's coming.
Correct.
Sean Murray has said that there's an upcoming patch that will, quote, make everyone very happy.
Yeah, I did read that. I did see that.
Yeah, we talked about that. So, but I don't think they've talked about a timeline about when that stuff's coming out. The two patches since the day one patch, the two patches that have come out were just bug fixes.
Yeah.
And it seems like it added like a couple just minor tweaks to like UI and stuff like that maybe, but
I don't want to sound like we're just tooting our own horns here, but I think the three of us are the kind of the stereotype of the gamer that Hello Games wanted to target with this game, whereas we are most excited about what's to come in this game than what's there. Because we know that there's so much more to find and figure out. It's not all right there in front of you when you start. You can't just review it at the beginning and this
But
is
even what's there, like I was just saying to you guys earlier, like I would love this game exponentially more if I could just customize paint colors on my ship and name my ship.
Yeah, that's so weird. You can't name your ship. I thought that almost immediately.
But I'm sure that's coming at some point. Like, and that's that's not me saying like I don't like this game and that would make me like this game. No, I love this game and I would love it so much more if I could do that. But like I'm not annoyed by that. I just think that would be a cool thing to be able to do eventually.
We're going into 2017. Who's to say next year we won't be building our own ships?
So I mean,
which would be cool.
I actually just listened to a podcast about like warp drives and like stuff people are experimenting with. It's pretty exciting. But the cool thing for me is I'm not getting bored, and I don't see myself getting bored anytime soon. Like I'm totally doing the same thing over and over again now. Like Dave was saying, it's a resource grind. That's like the meat of the game is a resource grind, but I'm not bored with it. Like I'm collecting the same elements from every planet that I'm on. I'm cataloging, species, and I'm, cataloging plants and minerals and things like that. And I'm just, sometimes I'll just hop on my ship and fly, like close to the surface of the planet and see if I see anything interesting, and I'll land and check it out.
Yeah.
And but it's still not getting boring because I'm like every time I jump in, I find a new thing to focus on doing. Like when I was playing earlier today, and I found myself in a space station. I hadn't even gone to, like, I had just warped to the system, and I went to the space station first, and I hadn't even gone to a planet, and I found on the interface, the trade interface, the dynamic resonators were selling for like 250% of their actual value, or 300% or something like that, like crazy. It had the star on it, right?
Right.
And then like people were flying into the space station.
Something they don't explain. You just figure it out.
Yes. Yeah. So then people were flying into the space station, and everyone that was flying into the space station, like 90% of the people that were flying in, were selling dynamic resonators for like way lower than the market price. So I was like, I literally spent probably 2 hours buying dynamic resonators, going to the interface, selling them for like 200 or 300% more, and I ended up with like 4 million units and bought like a new ship with a bunch of new a bunch of extra inventory slots. So like I spent 2 hours doing that, but like I never got bored doing that because like I knew what I was doing it for. And like there are so many little meta objectives and quest lines or whatever like that you can pull out for yourself. Like there's little goals, personal goals that you can just go for in this game, like in the midst of all the resource grinding and exploring and whatever. But like I still get surprised by things I see on planets, and then like I get super excited when I land on a planet and it's like Sentinels are super aggressive because that means there's something like really good on that planet,
right?
And so like the thrill of like running around and collecting albumin pearls or Corvax cubes or the Gravitino balls or whatever.
I call them glowy balls.
Like the thrill, like literally just the thrill of grabbing one of those, knowing that they're going to be after you, and then just sprinting to the next one and picking that up, and sprinting to the next one and picking that up, and then like when it gets too much, you jump in your ship and fly a little bit and land and do the same thing.
That's what I was telling. I was telling Chad that before the podcast, before you jumped on. That was going to actually if we were going to go into our own No Man's Sky moment, it was going to be that where I cleared all of my inventory. Like I was like, you know what? Forget all this stuff. I don't need the thamium. I don't need the plutonium. I don't need the carbon. Forget it all. I'm sprinting around. I'm using the little sprint and then melee and then jetpack boost to make me go fast. I'm flying all over this planet, grabbing all of these little glowy balls.
Okay, wait. Josh, you knew about that thing too?
I only knew about it because I read it in an article.
Okay, Dave, because this is the first I heard about it. So explain
You've got your melee with your R1. Which I've never used for its actual
I kicked
usage.
some dead animals around. It's kind of fun.
Okay, but if you push in your right stick,
to run,
your right stick to run, and then you hit your melee. And it's like the timing, it's like right after you hit your melee. Or I haven't figured out the timing. I normally
it's
just
right
kind of like naturally. I just do it. Yeah, it's like almost immediately you hit your jetpack after you hit your melee. And if you're going uphill, it doesn't work as well because you run aground. But if you're going straight, or especially if you're on a decline, you will just soar like a bird, man.
So you're sprinting.
Yeah.
You hit your melee, and almost immediately after you hit your X to jump the jetpack, and it like propels you.
Of course, holding
way
your jetpack.
faster.
Yeah. And then you kind of do the thing where you tap your jetpack. You don't go too high because you don't want to like plummet and die. But then you're going really fast, and I was running around getting all these gravitino balls or whatever they were, and these spider sentinels and other sentinels are coming but I'm moving so quick they're actually deactivating because I'm getting so far away from them. Then I pick up another one, then they come back, and I got all of my inventory empty to where I could hold without my regular suit. Like I have my regular stuff you have in your exosuit. Then I had like an extra shield perk. Then I have like an extra life support perk. Then I have an extra running perk. I think I have an extra jetpack perk. So I had 23 slots open. So I'm carrying 23 of these gravitino balls at a time, and I have to jump. You were talking about earlier where you did the grind like in the space station. My space station, like on my pulse drive, using my pulse drive was like a minute 10 seconds away. So every time I got 23, I got my ship, and I started the journey, the 1 minute 10 second journey to the space station, and like I'd say 7 times out of 10, because I did this a lot. I did this for maybe almost 2 hours. The pirates would freaking drop out of orbit because they detected valuable cargo. And I had a space fight where I had to like literally fend off pirates from taking my plunder and get to that space station, sell all those things. I think I was getting like over 600,000 units a pop, not a piece, but every time I dropped 23. Right. And I went back. I think I got to the same amount, like a little over 4 million. But then I bought a ship with like 24 slots, I think maybe. But it was just so exciting. And then aside from that, a little branch off to that, I just really starting to look underwater because this planet that I'm on, where it's got all the gravitino balls, is a very mostly water planet with a bunch of islands all over it. And so sometimes as I'm running around jumping, I see the little question mark, and I'm like, that's in the water. And so I like float out. I use my jetpack, and I'm like skimming the surface like a skipping stone that got thrown or something, and just bouncing off the water. And then I'm like, all right, I got to make sure my air meter's all the way up because I dumped all of my minerals to carry gravitino balls, so I can't make my little breather mask that I have the recipe for. So then I go all the way down, and there's an entire station on the freaking ocean floor.
That's
like
cool.
You've been able to get into something that's underwater?
I sent a picture of that to you, Chad.
I saw the outside.
I was hoping you figured that that's what it was because the ripples around the ground.
But you actually got inside it?
Yeah, because it was one of those where like the weird plant life had taken over it.
Yeah.
And I got inside, and I'm like, I gotta pay attention to what's going on because I don't have my mask on. And then I got into one of those. It's one of those ones where you like read the little orb that's there or whatever, and then you have to like pick the right sequence. Code or the numbers or something, and it like gives you a bunch of stuff. And that's what that was. And I'm realizing, well, there's obviously like a crap ton of these all under the water. And there's other things you can discover under the water. There's other things you can mine out of the water. It's like, God, it's ridiculous.
I should start doing that. I haven't done any water exploration at all yet.
I don't
want to do. It
so
scares me a little
much.
bit.
Let me ask you a question here, and we'll try to move on. But 2 questions. First question: What's your inventory in your exosuit at this point? Mine, I'm at 45.
Oh wow.
Dave?
I'm pretty sure. What did I say? That I was over 40?
I can't remember what you said, to be honest with you.
Hey, Ray, do you remember what my exosuit was, my inventory slots?
Oh, you got plenty. I don't know how many it is, but you got a lot.
Plenty.
Yeah,
Plenty.
not enough for me, Ray.
You
Not
got
enough for
way
me.
more than I
Okay.
got. So
So
It's
probably
well
around
over-
40.
It might not be over 40, but it's definitely
Real
close to 40 because I was 30 before Chad decided he was just going to jettison past me.
Yeah, well,
Like insane. You got some good time in.
I started stopping at every one of those
Because
drop
I reached like 30 suit inventories, and at that point Chad's like, man, I just don't ever get to play. I want to play it so bad. I don't get to play. I get to do this. I get to do this. And then like for the next week, I get on and like Chad's up at like 4 a.m. playing No Man's Sky. I
that
gotta
was
go to
last
work
week,
at
yeah.
6.
I know.
What?
Josh, where are you at?
I was just looking. I'm at 33 slots on my exosuit.
Okay.
I just started stopping at all the drop pods too.
Yeah.
And
As long
I'm
as you
at
have the
20
money,
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah. I'm at
So is there
27 on my
is
ship.
there no place that you can get inventory slots for free?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
So
The
and
first-
they
I mean, the
all go
first
up
one
by
you get
what,
free.
10,000 units?
10,000 every time. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so then my second question is, and you kind of answered it maybe a little bit, but is there something in particular you're focusing on doing? Obviously, there's the Atlas path that you can focus on getting. There's the get to the center of the galaxy. There's just the exploration, whatever. But amidst your landing on planets, I'll tell you mine first. But what are you focusing on? For me, obviously, I was focused on the exosuit stuff. Anytime I saw a drop pod, I would get it, and that was after I got all that money from those poison sacks that I got.
Mhm.
I've since left that planet, and I can't find my way back, of course. So what I've been focusing on now is I've been looking at my trophies and looking at my milestones that I'm getting, and I realized I had something from every category in the milestone except for the zoology one. And the zoology milestone is to categorize or scan every animal on that planet, and basically all those question marks when you hit the options menu, fill all those out, get all the species. And that's where I figured out that the percentage bar, once you get 100% of the species, can also be uploaded for an extra money. And I had thought at first it was to actually upload the names, but that's not the case. So I've been trying to focus on the last few planets I've landed on, finding all the species on purpose in order to hit those milestones and get those trophies, because I think based on all the other trophies I've already gotten, that's going to be the most difficult one. And
It seems like it.
I don't know how many planets you're going to need for the gold, but I got, for one planet you get the bronze. The milestone says I'll get the next milestone with another one planet.
Yeah, I need
but
to
that
look
can be
'cause
difficult.
I've
It is
ticked
hard.
I've ticked off 1 or 2 golds now. So I guess if I go into my milestone for that category, I'm sure it'll probably resemble
It'll
the
say
number.
max. It'll say
Oh, it
max.
just says max. Yeah.
It still gives you how many you've done, but
Oh,
it'll
okay.
tell you, milestone maxed out. Basically.
Maybe that'll give me an idea of how much I need for the plant, because the plant I don't even think I haven't even hit the bronze for the zoology.
You only have to get one planet to do that. To get the bronze, you have to do
get to 100% one planet.
all the species, not the plants, but just the animals. And then I did that on a planet, okay, and I'm like, and I still didn't get the trophy, and it didn't pop. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I went to a question mark and I saved it. And I thought, well, maybe you have to upload it. You don't have to save. Still didn't go. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Why would that be? And so I didn't look it up at the moment. I kind of paused it. I went to my trophies to see maybe it had to upload. Maybe I missed it. Nope, that didn't happen. So I was messing around on the menu, and you have the little circle thing, and it was over the bar, the percentage bar, which said 100% upload for an extra, whatever, 250,000. I'm like, okay, I don't remember getting that at the time, and I must have just accidentally hit the button, and it started to fill in that circle. I'm like, oh, what is this? What is happening here?
Yeah.
And so I held the button down, and sure enough, it filled up the circle, uploaded, gave me the extra money, and the trophy popped immediately. So, trophy tip.
Yeah.
For this particular one, just finding them won't get it for you. You have to upload it on that percentage bar.
Now that we talked about that, Chad, after we talked about it, I went and tried it. And I wasn't on the planet that I had 100%ed, so I didn't get the money for it.
Uh-huh.
But it did give me the trophy.
It did,
when
okay.
I did it. So you can upload after the fact.
After
so
you
you
get
have
the
to
trophy
You have
That's
to be
nice
on the
to know.
planet to get the units,
to get the money.
but
but
not for
not
the
the
count.
Right.
milestone.
But not the
Interesting.
not the trophy or the
Interesting, yeah.
milestone.
So yeah, so that's what I've been focusing on is the zoology thing. I think next I'm going to try to maybe go a little bit further down that Atlas path. I have my first Atlas card and I have a couple of Atlas stones. I may go that way a little bit. I did finally land on or find a system today that someone else had discovered, and it has their gamer tag there. So I was going to look them up afterwards and just kind of see where they're still at. But is there something in particular you guys are focusing on right now? Are you mining money? Are you looking for the zoology thing? What are you doing, Dave?
I don't know if I don't think Josh was here for this either, but I was gonna ask, like, Josh, if when you bought your ship, did you happen to notice if your traveling distance from system to system increased?
No.
Like, for example,
I know I've seen that stat, but I don't remember where I saw it.
For example, I told you guys I learned a recipe or I keep saying recipe, but like schematic,
I know
or
what you
blueprint
mean.
for an upgrade.
You mean the warp drive?
Yeah, I got an
Yes.
upgraded warp drive, and the ship that I had from when it was pre-ordered was the redeemable one.
Right.
It allowed me to travel 2 systems at a time.
Yes.
But when I bought my new ship, I never even really paid attention to it because it also had an upgraded warp drive in it. I'm like, okay, so it's a comparable switch. But I was just messing around in the star map, and I realized I can jump 4 systems at a time.
Yeah. Before I just bought this recent one, this is my 3rd ship that I'm on now, and it doesn't have an upgrade on it, so I'm collecting resources to upgrade. But the last one I had already had an upgrade on it when I got it. It was a crash ship that I repaired, and I could jump
Which is
a
free,
bunch.
for those that don't know.
Yeah,
That's the
I
nice thing
could
about
I could
those.
jump a bunch at a time. I don't know exactly what my max was, but like it was letting me go a ways before it would say that I couldn't do it.
See, I'm stuck to answer the question, Chad. I'm kind of stuck with the draw of
Trying to go further.
I might be ready because I get stuck. Like I'm a completionist in a lot of things, and so there's the big part of me that's like, oh man, gotta discover every planet, gotta go down there and get as much stuff as I can get off of them.
Right.
But then there's another part of me that goes, dude, there's 18 quintillion quintillion.
He's made up another word.
Of these things. There's a heck of a lot of them, and it's like, if you don't learn to let go, you're not going to get a whole. I mean, not that you can't. I mean, like Josh said, there's a guy that maxed out everything on the planet he started on. But I'm kind of to the point where I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready to travel further. And I keep, like you were talking about the poison sacks, like I can't find that planet. I left the planet with the Gravitino balls, thinking, you know what? I'm going to find something
balls.
else. I'm going to find something
eventually
else
you
to
will.
do this with.
Yeah.
So I started jumping. I think before I ended the game the other night, I jumped 4 systems, and then got into the planet and saved it and went out because I was like, I jumped immediately to an Atlas place.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, cool. So I mean, there's like, I've been to like 20 systems, I think.
So you're focusing on
jumping.
jumping and getting.
I don't know if
further
I'm
along.
focusing on it yet.
But
But
you're
I'm
kinda
starting
leaning
to
that way.
realize, I don't have to stay in this area. And I
Forever.
kind of do want to find somebody. Like, I'm really interested in what you find out
Yeah.
from messaging this person.
Right.
Because I keep looking and seeing things, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'd like to find somebody. I haven't found anybody yet.
How about you, Josh? Anything in particular you're focusing on?
Well, from the get-go, like I don't know what it is about it, but I'm reluctant to like just go straight to the center. Like I want to get as much out of this game as I can. It's the same reason I haven't finished Fallout 4 yet. Like I don't want to finish it. I don't want there to be an end. So like I want to keep that mystery as long as possible. So from the beginning, I've been following the Atlas path, and not worrying about going to the center of the galaxy, which they eventually start to coincide. Like you start going towards the center as you're finding more Atlas places or whatever.
I was wondering about that because I
But-
was going to add to my thing too that I'm not looking for the center either. But I am following the paths to those
Yeah.
stones.
So at first, it's not taking you towards the center, and then eventually, at least the last couple that I've done have gotten me closer. I don't know if it's going to keep taking me closer, but so I've been doing that from the beginning. I'm more interested in that storyline. Like, I really want to know what that's all about and why whoever Atlas is, whoever that entity or corporation or whatever, like, I want to know why they're reaching out. But beyond that, lately, like, other than I'm always interested in like upgrading my ship, so I always like if I see a crash ship on a planet, I'll land and check it out and see what it's going to take to repair it and whatever. Lately, though, what I've been focusing on is I've been looking for like when you do those beacons that you have to do the bypass chip. I've been looking for the colonial outposts because you can get like those will almost always give you recipes depending on the building it sends you to. And I've been trying to find a recipe for an upgraded Atlas Pass. And because I want to start figuring out what's behind those doors, like in buildings, on planets, or like in the space station. So I've been trying to find. I still just have V1, and I've been trying to find a recipe for V2 or V3. And I read that if you get V2 or V3, they open all doors beneath them as well. So like a V3 will open V3, V2, and V1.
Sure.
So I noticed that it's weird that you can if you wanted to, which would be stupid, you can continue to make V1 passes and have more than one, which you only need that one.
Yeah, and you can't sell them, so I don't know what the purpose of having more than one would be, but so I've been searching for recipes on every planet, like along with the normal, just like getting rare items or whatever. But I really want to find a recipe for like the upgraded Atlas passes to see what's behind those doors. Cool. So that's what I've been focusing on lately.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our No Man's Sky moment for this week.
Man, I could seriously talk about that game like for hours. Yeah. I could talk about that game so much. I love it so much. It's great.
And you know what's going to happen. I mean, like, I know that the whole thing, the probability of meeting someone is very, very slim. But I refuse to believe that the longer you play this game, like Chad just ran into somebody's system, like a year from now, I think there's going to be a lot more like player-to-player options available.
That they'll add it in, sure.
It would be cool. So. Like I'm not necessarily missing it. Like I don't necessarily need that to play the game, but it would be cool if there was some, like if you could maybe just trade with each other. If you met up with somebody or something, like if there was some kind of an interaction you could have with
what'll happen, what'll happen though is you meet someone and they'd freaking just straight up kill you and steal all your stuff.
I mean, I'd be fine with that too. Like that.
There are people that would want to be pirates.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's what I was saying. Like that aspect of the game, like that would, some people's experience of the game would be completely different than other people's.
What if there's somebody like the base building happens, and then their player-to-player happens, and there's someone who seriously is like, the Jabba the Hutt of this game, where he's just like sits in this planet, he's overseeing all these trade and these smuggling things, and he's like got billions of units. Like
that. I mean, that kind of stuff happens in EVE Online. I mean, like we joke, but there is that in EVE Online.
Right. Do we know that whether or not, because I didn't look into this, it would make sense if it did, but the actual trade system, is that affected by players, what they're buying and selling? Or is that just whatever they decide?
I'm not sure. I know that like it's not like the rates, the market values of the items are not always the same.
Right.
Like depending on what planet or system you're in. And even like if you leave a space station and go back, the values aren't necessarily going to be the same. So, but I don't know what affects it necessarily.
There's a lot that can still be done, and I think they probably will continue to adjust and tweak this game to make it better.
Yeah, I think they have plans on adding a lot of stuff. I think this was always a game that was planned to grow or evolve as it goes.
Sure.
A couple of people have likened it to Minecraft. And when Minecraft came out, there was no recipes. It was just go out and figure it out. Like it was very bare bones, and it's come a long way, and it's still thriving. And this game definitely has that kind of a potential. So
what did we decide? Minecraft came out 2011, I think, and so it's been out for like 5 years, almost 6 years, and it's on the top 10 list of everything.
Every month.
Every month.
Yep. Yep.
That's not the top 10 of people playing. It's the top 10 of people buying.
Purchasing.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
5 years later.
All right, No Man's Sky, next year's Minecraft.
So great.
Let's move into the news that you can use.
If you so choose to do...
Whoa, dude.
Don't
veer.
Do it.
You had
Don't
it at
veer.
you so choose. Yeah, don't veer for deer, man. That's how you get messed up.
Okay. So, Gamescom happened last week in Cologne, Germany, and there were some things that came out of it. Not a ton.
Good smelling games.
Yeah, no, probably the opposite of that. There were over
man.
500,000 people that visited this show over there in Germany. And we know those Germans, they're real stinkers. They smell real bad.
Cool.
And
what is the hate?
it's not hate, it's just the way it is, and that's fine.
German people smell bad physically?
You know, that's what they say.
Where are the stats for this, Chad?
And you want to find them? They're on the internet. It's
Where are the
real easy.
stats? Where are the
real
stats?
easy to find those stats.
Where
Just
are the smell stats?
Get this Google. It's googlesmell.com. You can find them there.
You heard it here.
It ranks the country by the smellers.
Wait a second. It ranks?
That's right.
The ranks?
Moving. Stop digging and asking questions. This is getting.
I'm just
weird.
saying, as far as I know, my lineage comes from German.
Well, hey.
I don't know that to be true because my dad's ancestors are all dead. I don't know any of them. But I have heard that man, M-A-N-N, is a German name.
Okay. Dude,
Of course, we revolted against Hitler.
Googlesmell.com. You can find out how bad Dave Man smells.
Smell.com.
All right, so
German
there's a few
hating.
things. Just stop it. There's a few things that came out. One of them is there will be a new map for Overwatch, that real good game that a lot of people play, including yours truly. So a new map is coming out for Overwatch. It's people are real excited about that.
Our text thread just keeps growing for Overwatch.
Yeah, we're adding more people. I still need to add. There's a couple people I just have numbers for. I don't know who they are exactly.
Well, it just updated tonight, and there's two people on. There's one person that I don't know saying for us to add another person that I don't know.
So,
and I'm like, I'm confused. Who is this?
Yeah.
This is like Overwatch, man. It's
a great game.
It's fun.
So Season 1 ended about a week or so ago. Season 2 will be starting up here in another week and a half. That's a lot of fun. And the more people you can play with, obviously, the more enjoyable that game is. So bringing new maps, and obviously there's rumors that a new character will also be added. Blizzard will no doubt continue to support this game as it's making them lots of money. Next, Mass Effect. Very similar in some aspects to No Man's Sky, maybe some of the feel of the game. And we had heard, I don't know how long ago, but Peter Moore came out and said from EA, saying that EA was not going to do these remasters. They were going to focus on making new things, and they're not going to fall into the trap or the path that a lot of people have done. Well, come to find out that may not be the case. One of the other higher-ups over there at EA was interviewed this last week and said, maybe we will try some of this remaster stuff. It seems to be working well for the companies that are doing it well. We got BioShock Collection coming out. Yep. We're getting Modern Warfare remastered. And they're seeing that people do want some of these games. And so they're saying, yeah, we're probably going to do a Mass Effect Trilogy remaster. No dates, no times. But we've talked about here on this podcast the last few weeks, since E3, that Mass Effect Andromeda, for a game that's supposed to come out first quarter of next year, we have seen next to nothing from this game. And I propose and suppose that this game will be delayed until next fall, and in the meantime, we're going to get Mass Effect Trilogy Remastered to kind of hold us over. That's my guess.
That makes sense. There's a lot of people that would be very happy about a Mass Effect remaster.
I would be one of them,
including me. Having only played 2 a little bit. I would be interested to jump in and play these.
Good.
Yeah, you would like these. I think you would really like these games.
I would love to play a good space RPG.
No spoilers, but that last scene in Mass Effect 3.
No spoilers, but the last
Oh.
thing in the last trilogy of
Well,
the
I'm not
game.
gonna say. I'm not saying what it is.
You know, when the thing happens. Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
When that
between
guy
me-
kills that other guy.
between me and Chad, that
Yeah.
thing that happens at the end of Mass Effect 3,
Right?
that's great.
Some
you
people
know?
liked it, some people
Not
hated it.
before the last thing,
Now I'm confused.
but the second to last thing. Before you make the decision about the last thing.
Right, yes, that was cool.
That thing
Was a
that's
cool
reminiscent of another thing from a movie that I won't mention because it might spoil something.
thing. Cool things all around.
Ah,
So yeah,
good.
Mass Effect trilogy may come out. Let's hope so. Next, another EA game. Yeah, right. EA Battlefront did. Yeah, EA did Battlefront.
yeah.
So I'm
EA, not sports.
not sports. I mentioned
Still
this
the
on
game.
the Star Wars Rant podcast. Go ahead and I'll take a line from the top. The words in the mouth that's coming out and this
What is happening?
the Jello pudding pops.
Oh no! Don't talk about that molester.
Okay, so let me start over.
Jello.
Rewind all that part. So EA, which also makes Battlefront,
Right.
which if you want to hear about Star Wars stuff, which Battlefront is, Star Wars Rant podcast, I talked about. Shush. I talked about last week on the Star Wars Rant podcast. Not sponsored.
No free speech
Shout out to
here,
Here's
folks.
the Thing podcast. You can go listen to that, but there is a VR specific mission for Battlefront, which is going to be PlayStation exclusive because they have the PlayStation VR, and the VR mission is going to be Rogue One related,
That's pretty cool.
which is the movie that is coming out this December, the prequel, if you will, to Episode 4. And from what I've heard,
Sequel to Episode 3.
hey, you know, that's how numbers work. From what
It's
I've
not-
heard, it's real good, and to the point where people that were debating on whether or not to keep their PlayStation VR pre-order, maybe they're going to cancel it because they just don't see all the games that are out there. There just really isn't a whole lot that they see that excites them. They played this at Gamescom, this VR mission for Rogue One Battlefront, and it has made them want to keep their pre-order. It has basically resold PlayStation VR for them, that this mission is so fantastic. So hearing that,
Do we know what the gameplay is of the mission? Like,
it's
is
an
it flying?
X-Wing mission from what I understand.
Oh, it is X-Wing. I think we've heard this for a while, haven't we?
Right.
I just forgot.
But now they just put the Rogue One,
So it's an
Part to it.
untold story.
assumedly,
Right.
Rogue One mission, X-Wing mission of some kind. So yeah, that's pretty exciting.
It's basically,
I mean,
it's exactly the same as the trench warfare, except they're just taking pictures,
wow.
like scouting it instead.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
you
just
just gotta
like-
get the video footage.
You're just like free riding on rails in a TIE fighter around the Death Star, like snapping pictures like Pokemon Snap.
That sounds like nope. Don't
Everyone's
like
like,
that at all.
dude, this is totally why I want VR.
It's the future. So yeah, so that's out there. That's exciting.
Speaking
Rogue
of
One.
VR, I'm going to jump off on a huge rabbit trail here.
No,
Yes, a
not
huge
you.
one. Yes. I was talking to Ray Ashmore, again, someone who was on our last podcast, episode 79, Bolt Castifier, if you want to know which episode it's called. And Ray was talking about, we were just talking about Star Wars. I completely lost my train of thought. It was just embarrassing. We were talking about Star Wars, talking about the trench warfare, talking about something else. Dang it! What did you just say? I should not have taken
VR.
this.
You were going to mention the
Yes,
VR. thing.
VR. That's right, VR.
Yes.
This is going off on a rabbit trail,
Yes.
and it might
Right,
upset
we've-
some. It might
we've
upset some
solidified
Star
that.
Wars fans. But I showed Ray, who is a huge fan of Star Trek.
Much
Uh-huh.
better than Star Wars.
He signed
not-
off.
First of all, it's not much better than Star Wars. No, it's not. I will say that you like it more because I believe you.
Well thought out logically. Yes, it is.
Well thought out logically,
enjoy
which
it.
is something you don't ever do.
Enjoyable.
So I'm not
Okay,
taking any
okay,
of that.
Spock, rein it in here, Logic Man.
So anyways, I showed him I showed him the trailer for the Star Trek VR experience.
Star Trek VR, okay.
Star Trek, yeah, the Star Trek VR experience, where the
Bridge
one where
Crew.
the one they did at Ubisoft's reveal, where they had like LeVar Burton in it as Geordie Forge. And dude, I mean, he was like, oh man, like first of all, he's already like, gosh, I got to get a PS4 after all the No Man's Sky talk, and after I let him play it for like several hours the other day, and he played it up for like an hour and a half or something tonight. He's like, I got to get a PS4. Then I showed him this Star Trek thing. He's like, oh, I gotta have that game. So like, going from nothing to like a week
He
later,
needs the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation VR,
which translates to
$800.
I need to spend $800 like right now. Like I need to spend it and have this. That's exactly what that says. VR, man. I mean, we've talked about it before. Going back a couple episodes, me and Josh both demoed it at Best Buy. It is the real deal. Like it's seriously. Yeah. These people acting like, oh man, this sells it for us. I mean, I totally believe them. You find was it Eve Valkyrie, Josh?
Yeah. Yep.
That's not even a game that really I was like, oh man, I can't wait to play. But getting into that, and like I said, I won't go over because we've touched on it before. But I mean, people get the right experience for them. Like they only need that one experience to sell it.
Yeah.
They're doing it right this time, and it's. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Cool.
Yeah. Sucks that it's sold out already, but
yeah,
I'm sure they're working on it and getting it available.
It'll be out there. Yeah. They'll want to sell more. So.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a thing. And then I'm going to skip one. Speaking of PlayStation, some things came out on Reddit this last week. Actually, maybe just yesterday, the day before. A PlayStation 4 Slim version was leaked. The photos were leaked out. Someone supposedly bought one off eBay, and people were saying the box was fake, so he took it out of the box, took pictures of the actual system with the cords, and then since then, Eurogamer has actually recorded themselves booting up the new PlayStation 4 Slim. They've since taken it down.
So this is Eurogamer just seeing a video. They actually have one too now.
They actually have one too and have booted it up and recorded it. I think I read at the advice of their lawyers, they have taken that footage down at the moment, but it was out there for a while. So it's a real thing. The PS4 Slim.
This is not the Neo.
I was going to say we're confirmed that this is just a PS4 Slim and not
the Neo, the mythical beast. Yes.
I don't. Okay.
We talked last week about that PlayStation is doing an event in New York City on September 7th, and everyone is speculating this is to announce the PlayStation 4 Neo. Whether or not that'll be released this year or not is still to be determined, but everyone's pretty convinced that that's what this event is for. So, obviously, nothing has been confirmed still from Sony themselves saying, yeah, this is a new Slim version. But it obviously is, as we have people that have it in their hands. I'm sure they probably plan to do both at this event, maybe, or maybe just this one. And if they were just looking to announce the Slim, they have nothing.
It's very weird. It's very weird with everything that's happened, them kind of backtracking. Not necessarily backtracking, but like we're assuming they did when they put out basically the statement before E3 saying we're not going to announce it at E3, which made it sound like maybe they were planning on it. And, Microsoft came out with their thing. So now, I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but it would not surprise me if they announced it at the same time as they revealed this, like Microsoft did, but pushed back the release of it.
Yeah, so do you think...
We were thinking it was going to come out the same time as VR. That's what we were thinking.
Right, October, right.
Which it still could.
It still could.
Because it totally makes sense for it to come out at that time, but I don't think anybody was expecting Scorpio to be what it looks to be.
Sure.
And so since we now are kind of realizing that the Neo is not just a Xbox One S, because now we have the Slim that's leaked. So this is supposed to be a step up, whether it's PlayStation, quote unquote PlayStation 5 or not, whatever.
Right.
But I think Sony's smart. I mean they killed Microsoft this last console generation. But Microsoft does look like they have a good foot in the door for the next whatever this, Scorpio looks to be. It's definitely, I don't think, like, all the talk that we're hearing, maybe there's not going to be 4, 5, 6 anymore. It's just going to be, here's the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And much like PCs, it's just going to take steps much sooner than Xbox 360, it was 10 years. PS3, 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they announced it and said it's not coming out until next year.
Sure.
But also, it wouldn't surprise me if it came out with VR. It's weird. The Sony thing is very weird, the way that they haven't said anything.
Yeah. There's a good chance that I just don't understand how any of this works. But I want to know who was asking for a slim PS4. Well, I haven't heard anybody complaining about the size of the PS4.
That was the first thing I noticed when I saw the size of it.
It's not a whole lot smaller either.
No.
I'm looking at my PS4 is at arm's length right now, and I have an Xbox One and a PS4, and the PS4 is a very good size. I mean, the Mini looks to be, it got rid of like the trapezoid-like shape.
Yeah, it has actual physical buttons.
Right, and it's a little bit not as tall from what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people
Maybe
were comparing it to the Sony 4K streaming device or whatever. I don't know if it's a streaming device, but Sony has a box out there already that's some type of
PlayStation. Is that the PlayStation View?
I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't know if it was a PlayStation anything. I thought it was just a Sony device. I could be wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about. I saw pictures side by side.
I think the main thing is that this is their answer to the Xbox One S. I mean, obviously the Xbox One was huge, and this new one is much smaller.
Though. Like, I don't think they needed an answer to that.
Maybe
That's what
not.
I was gonna say. I just don't understand. It seems like an unnecessary product that's gonna muddy the water again. Like, it seems like they keep shooting themselves in the foot.
I think the only reason Xbox One. I think the only reason that Xbox One S, like when Xbox had the month of July, where they outsold them. Yeah. I think the only reason that happened is because people are confused if they should buy a PS4 or not right now because they don't know what's coming.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't think it had anything to do with it's the Xbox, it's just slimmer, so we're going to buy that.
Well, the thing is too. I mean, I say it maybe it's the answer to that, but that it's not equal to that because the Xbox One S is capable of 4K. It's capable of HDR.
Well, we don't know what this slim is capable. We don't have specs on it.
We don't have confirmed anything. But if people have it and they can boot it up, don't you think that would also be like, yeah, and this is 4K also?
Why haven't we heard that yet?
Because maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
But you're right, Chad. The bottom line might be that this one is cheaper to make. It's the cheaper iteration after they've been producing this hardware for a while that eventually comes up. So maybe that's just the answer.
And I read that they are phasing out the original ones too. Like they're going to stop manufacturing those.
Huh.
It is true to form. I mean, we've had this happen with literally every console.
You get a sleeker, slimmer model each time.
Yeah.
And then obviously if they announce the Neo, whether it's this year or next, that's your standard model is now going to be your Slim, and your upgraded Neo is going to be whatever that ends up being. So it's interesting. It came out of nowhere, and obviously we're a week and a half, 2 weeks ahead of their announcements that they're supposed to have, their event. And you wonder if it kind of takes some of the wind out of the sails, or if now the Neo is the main thing. And it'll be interesting to see what that ends up being. And then continue with the PlayStation news. PlayStation Plus, that membership to play online, to be able to do a lot of things now that didn't exist for a long time. I think it's been now a thing for 5 or 6 years. It is $50 a year for the PlayStation Plus membership. You get a lot of free games with it. You do get to play online. Is going up $10 starting the 22nd of September. It'll now cost you $60 a year, just like Microsoft charges for their year, and or you can spend $25 for a 3-month subscription.
Yeah.
You guys care about that? Does that matter to you? Will you not get it? Will you begrudgingly buy it now for $10 more bucks?
I already begrudgingly buy it.
But
I'm not going to go without it.
Right.
Yeah, if you haven't been used, I mean, if you've been an Xbox person like you and me, Chad, for a long time,
Yeah.
you're used to doing this.
The way it is.
A lot of the PlayStation people weren't doing that, and they were getting it for free. Now they did have, and this is just, I don't think this is really debatable. They did have a subpar experience as far as online goes. Not that it wasn't adequate, but I mean,
Xbox Live definitely led the way in that.
Xbox Live did have a great community. Now that I have a PS4 and I'm doing it now, and I kind of got in late to the game. There's I'm not really lacking anything as far as getting into a party with my friends, playing online with my friends. Like, I didn't really do a whole lot more. I didn't deal with a lot of the online services with my Xbox other than that. So it's pretty comparable right now to me, at least
what you use it for.
Yeah, right. Average user. So I mean, it doesn't surprise me that they're at least matching Xbox.
It's the first increase they've had since they installed it or since they started it. Yeah. And again, I mean, if you look at all the games that they give you for free, it's well over $50-$60.
From somebody, you probably know a little bit more about this, Chad. How do their online services compare right now?
They're much better than they've ever been, and I think from the way I understand, they're pretty comparable to what Xbox Live is. I mean, for the basics that you want to do, yeah, they're all the same. I mean, you can broadcast to Twitch just like you can off the Xbox. They actually had that first before Microsoft did. Yeah. You can do the share button, which that's another extra step with Xbox One. So, I mean, they do have some things that are better, I think, than on Xbox are, as far as ease of use for a couple of them. So,
yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I think it's only really it's because they can, not because they need to.
Yep, agreed. And we talked about a few months ago or a few weeks ago how many people have that and how much money that equates to, and it's a lot. And now you add $10 more across that. It's a lot of money. Yeah. Lots of money. And then finally, Hideo Kojima does not work for Konami anymore. Hideo Kojima is not making Metal Gear games anymore. Konami
feces
makes pachinko machines.
Excrement.
Lots of them.
I'm a little.
But Konami
extreme
is also going to make a Metal Gear game without Kojima.
This is Konami saying we don't need Kojima, which I think they're wrong.
Yes, so
obviously. Yeah, go ahead.
The game is called Metal Gear Survival, and they showed a trailer at Gamescom this last week. The rumor is it's only going to cost around $30, so it's not a full-price $60 game. It looks like a horde mode survival game where right at the beginning, Big Boss and everyone and the little doggy gets on a helicopter and flies away.
The little doggy.
He's a big dog now. Flies away, D-Dog, and D-Horse just get his little parachute shows up, and he neighs as he flies. No, he wasn't. I'm making all this up.
Oh, okay.
He neighs as he flies off into the sky to follow Big Boss, and a wormhole shows up, and there's like guys get sucked in. You left some people behind. You went and smacked them, and they said, "Thank you, boss. Can I have another?" You hit them on the ground, and they give you a salute and say thank you, and you left them. Big Boss left them.
You grow down into prone. You make D-Doors take a crap. You roll around in it.
And then you left those guys there. Deal with the wormhole, you say, and you fly away on your cool helicopter. And they show up in this wormhole.
Miller.
And then all of a sudden we have Resident Evil.
This seriously, looking at this, first of all, this soon, $30. This seriously looks so desperate to try to hang on to Metal Gear without Kojima to put something out this soon.
It's sad.
And then they're like, oh yeah, it's $30. I mean, they're really wanting people. I really hope people don't buy this. I mean, maybe I'm just being a jerk.
I would have hoped that they would have just let it lie low for a while.
That's what I was hoping.
I mean, let me be honest here and say that if they would have came out with another Metal Gear game, like maybe, around the same time that maybe Kojima came out with his game,
sure.
First of all, that might have been suicide too. But I don't necessarily know if I would say I'm not going to buy that.
Right. because they gave it time to breathe.
Right, but I mean, it's like what a year?
Yeah.
What is it, like a year and a half?
It came out in September.
Yeah, so not even a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now I understand this isn't like the next Metal Gear. This is still off of the same thing, but that I think makes it even worse.
Sure.
Like this is Kojima's game, and now we're making 0.5 without him.
Right.
And it's not even really it's not along the lines of any
Be like, yeah, hey, remember
Metal Gear game before.
Remember Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain? That was awesome. You had so much fun in that game. We're going to take those guys that you loved. They're not in it anymore. So, I mean, but remember the other things. Like the guys that you had.
It seriously does.
That.
We joke about it, but it seriously does look like Resident Evil.
Yeah,
It's
it does.
so
Left 4
reminiscent of
Dead.
Resident Evil.
It's like zombies, and it's, I mean, there's a cool arrow that lady was shooting that spins around and looks like Laura Croft. But
none of this candor means it's not going to be fun. But I mean, I don't know how you can play it without constantly comparing it and thinking.
It just seems
we don't know the
bad
real story. Maybe Kojima was a real jerk. We don't know.
Sure.
All we know is that he's the one that's the mastermind behind the stuff that we've loved for years in the Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear series, period. And I've played. I never played the first one. I'm looking forward. That's in the NES Mini 30 games, right? One of the Metal Gears.
Was it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Wait! I'm gonna have to buy a freaking number one edition.
The first Final Fantasy game is in there.
Oh, the first Final Fantasy. I have a regular NES controller just sitting in my house that I bought just for the sake of, like, it's an actual original that I bought from some store. I don't even remember where, because I just wanted it. It's just to have. I need to play those.
Metal
but I
Gear
started
is
playing.
not in that list.
Yeah,
so.
I started playing Metal Gear with the first Metal Gear Solid on the PS1, I believe. And then I bought a PlayStation 2. That was my first PlayStation console. So I could play that game and is it Sons of the Patriot?
Sons of Liberty.
Sons of Liberty. That's the second one, right? Metal Gear Solid 2? Yeah. And then Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, and then Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, which I played on the PS3. And then took it back. But I've loved the Metal Gear. When I first played Metal Gear Solid, I was like, gosh, this is amazing. Like, the game just, like, revolutionized anything that I ever remember playing on a console at all. And the story was so in-depth, I didn't even know what the heck was going on. But I just knew this is something I've never experienced before. It's one of the first times I played a game and used that, basically a cliche today, where it's like you're playing a movie. And, like, sometimes that's even said negatively today. But back then, it was like, dude, this brings a whole new meaning to the word cinematic in games.
Right.
Like, Kojima had this. I mean, whether or not people think it got out of control by the time we got to Metal Gear Solid 5: Phantom Pain, that game was.
It was good.
Oh my gosh! I put like 200 plus
did.
hours into it.
I didn't play the other ones like you did, but I got into that one a lot.
You played no Metal Gear before 5, right?
Yeah, a little, very, very little.
And you loved it.
I loved it. I'd do it again.
Yeah,
So
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it to go on sale, and I will buy it again, and we will play it again on the PS4.
It just seems like doing the survival is just not very well timed, and
it really feels like
desperate.
they're saying, "Hey, this is our game, and here's here's proof."
Yeah. So,
Josh,
all right.
what do you think? Josh didn't say anything.
No, I agree. It seems like a bad idea. The trailer looked real dumb. It's not Metal Gear. Like, it could have been. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Wow. See, I'm allergic to.
Oh, really? You're going to use a German word, but you think Germans smell?
It's a smelly word.
I forget, Chad.
It's a smelly word.
Wow, Dave's very sensitive
Smelly
about
word.
that. No, it just like it's not a Metal Gear game. It's a Resident Evil 7, zombie type wannabe with a Metal Gear skin. It could have been any other game.
Yeah.
The whole thing seems ill-conceived.
And I'm assuming with the cost being $30, that it's really going to be kind of like just like a mode, like not really a
Yeah, it's a multiplayer only game.
campaign thing.
Yeah,
It's
it
just
seems like
we're
it seems like a
surviving these
throwaway.
zombies.
Yeah.
We're trapped
real
in this
dumb.
wormhole.
Konami, you're real dumb. All right, that ends the news segment for this week, which brings us into the topics that interest us.
The topics. I'm sorry.
So, the topics that interest us are brought to us today by Andrew Complin. He's a real super cool dude, drives a real nice car, and he wanted us to be aware of another...
Wait a second, Chad. You've never told us about his car before.
Yeah, you know, as I said that, I'm like, I don't really know what kind it is. I've seen it, and it's nice. It's like a sporty car, but I don't know what kind it is.
So he's got money, you're saying.
Well, I mean,
How much is
he
he
buys
supporting
comic
us?
books.
Number one, how much is he supporting us? Number two, how many comics does he buy?
Plenty.
You know what? I mean, maybe.
So,
maybe
he wants
Sarah
to
Complin
bring
is
to our
watching
attention-
some important kids.
The more you know, public service announcement. He has brought roads to our attention. He has brought air to our attention. And today, another thing you cannot live without, and everyone probably should use more of it, that's water.
Good old H.
H2O.
I would like to think smart water is towards the top of that list. But
So,
also, I would like to say, what the heck is up with Voss water?
Dude, that's good stuff, man. The sparkling Voss water.
tell me about
Now,
this
wait a
Voss
second.
water.
Whoa,
I know nothing.
Whoa, hold on. I've never had the sparkling Voss water.
Dude, it's good, and they've got flavors, man. Like they've
Now-
got lemon-infused sparkling Voss water, and it is
I don't know
fantastic.
if you know this, Josh. I don't know if you know this, but you are talking to a recent, within the last year, addict of sparkling water / club soda / soda water /
Dude, it's great.
carbonated water.
Yeah, it's like drinking pop without the guilt of drinking pop.
Exactly. Let me tell you this, Josh. Let me say this. Something I'm a little peeved about.
Oh, boy.
But these Steel Boys, as I
Uh-oh.
like to call them, instead of Steel Brothers, these Steel Boys make fun of me liking club
What?
soda. Yes. They act
Dude,
like
there is
I'm
no shame in
disgusting.
that whatsoever.
They act like I'm a third-rate citizen
A German, maybe?
or from a third-world country.
Yeah, no.
They act like I'm subpar because I like soda water. Let me reiterate what you said. It is like soda without the bull crap,
We said
That's right.
pop, not soda.
without the
He said
bull
pop.
species. Well, I mean, we're talking about soda water. We're
Right.
not talking about pop water. That doesn't mean I don't still call Pepsi pop. I mean, I am
Okay.
from Michigan. I am from the Midwest.
Right. We do know that. That is true.
All
So
right.
water, it's real good. You should drink more.
Oh, really? We're just gonna just abandon what I was saying.
Yeah, no,
Club
yeah,
soda
because
needs a voice,
Yep,
Chad.
drink
It
water.
needs a voice, and
Drink
I will
more water.
gladly stand for it.
And our next topics cast will be about water. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
It could be a part of the show.
Dude, I love water. I love drinking it. I love swimming in it. I love splashing people with it. I love
cleans you real good too.
it.
Just
Man,
I'm just saying, most people don't even know about. They don't even know this, but what they love about soda is the fizziness, not the syrup. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I'll agree
soda
with that.
water is very healthy. It's water.
Yeah.
And you're getting that little kick you like.
You know what else I love doing with water?
Uh-oh.
I love putting it in rubber sacks and throwing it at people.
Okay. Much better than what I thought you were going to go with that.
Yeah,
It's
water
great.
balloon
Where you
fights.
said,
are-
I love putting it in. I was like,
Lots of
oh,
fun.
gosh, where is he going to go with that? Then you said sacks of like plastic, not like I thought maybe you were going to talk about like human
Okay, so
sacks.
Right.
here's the topic that interests us this week. Thank you, Andrew, and water. Wow. I have a question for you guys. This fall, we have quite a few shooter games, the shooty shoot games coming out, and I want you to choose just one of the shooty shoots that are coming out this fall. I'm going to list 4 of them, and you need to tell me which one. If you could only have one, and that's the only one you could play from this year, which one would it be? The games are Gears of War 4, comes out October 11th. I realize that's an Xbox exclusive. Battlefield 1, October 21st. Titanfall 2, October 28th.
Gosh,
And
I didn't know we were going to do ones that haven't come out yet.
There's one more left.
I know, but
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
okay, have you named any that haven't come out?
No, these have all not come out.
So you've named
That's
a
the
bunch
point.
that haven't come out.
That is the point. These are games that come out this fall, upcoming games that we may want to play. Probably all going to be pretty good, the way it sounds. You can only have one. Which one do you choose?
Okay, so let me make sure I've got this list right. Gears of War 4.
Yep.
First of all, did you name 5 or 4?
I named 4. Let me go
Okay.
through them one more time.
No, I've got them. I got them. Gears of War 4, Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Or
Correct.
did you do the remastered one?
Nope. That's
So you
those are the
did
ones
not-
I gave.
You did not pick the remaster. Okay, well, the remastered one would have been easy.
What
Well,
has your interest the most at this
I
point?
feel like, first of all, as a Call of Duty player and someone who played Titanfall, they're very similar because they're made by, like roughly the same company. I guess who's doing Titanfall? Or I'm sorry, who's doing Modern Warfare this year? Treyarch or Sledgehammer? Or
No,
Infinite?
it's Infinity Ward.
Okay, so Infinity Ward did Titanfall 2, right?
Nope, that was Respawn.
Dang it! But didn't a bunch of people from
The
Infinity
two
Ward?
co-founders of Respawn were part of the first Modern Warfare 2 Infinity Ward, yes.
Okay, those are very similar, and they're both very good shooters. I very much enjoyed Titanfall 1, and I've always enjoyed even the bad ones. I mean, they have shooting down to a science, the first-person shooter down to a science.
Totally.
That doesn't mean that they, are necessarily better than somebody else, but as far as what they do it very well, and they sell very well. I feel like Gears of War, I don't think stands up to the other three mentioned.
Okay.
As far as mechanics go, Gears of War, incredible shooter. I love Gears of War. And I personally, I really like over-the-shoulder shooters a lot. Some people don't, but I like the over-the-shoulder shooters. So, I mean, shout out to that game. But I think I'd have to give it probably to... Gosh, Battlefield 1 looks so good.
Yeah.
And it's
You can only play one. What do you choose? What one do
that's
you
right.
want the most?
I mean, when you talk about Battlefield, you talk about more realism than the Modern Warfare games. There's you have to compensate for like bullet drop, and it's a lot more staying still. I mean, I guess if you're a sniper, depending on what class you're playing, but there's a lot more realism in Battlefield, and the fact that it's World War I, something we haven't really experienced, I don't think, ever in a game.
Not
I think
in
the
a shooter.
farthest back we've gone back is World War II, right?
Yeah, for a shooter.
World at War was that World War II?
That was World War II, yep.
Okay, Airborne Division. Gosh, man, that's tough. I think I would still have to probably give it to Call of Duty, though.
Okay. Dave chooses Call of Duty. Josh?
I'm torn between Call of Duty and Battlefield 1 as well.
Sometimes it calls and you have to answer.
Sometimes it does. For me, though, I think I would have to give it to Battlefield 1, just because I'm like, I've spent less time playing Battlefield than I have Call of Duty, and I'm intrigued by the World War I.
I won't even argue
setting.
because I'm happy with either.
Yeah, I'd be totally happy with either, and
I'll be
super
happy
torn
with
between
Chad
them,
being
but-
the tiebreaker.
My choice, without hesitation, I mean, I want to play all four of them, and I will play all four of them.
You're gonna go
So,
Battlefield 1.
I'm going Battlefield 1.
Yep, I know it.
That game, all the trailers, and I really enjoy Battlefield. Battlefield 4 was a ton of fun. Battlefield 3 I had a lot of fun with. I was usually playing alone because the group that we had wasn't real fond of the Battlefield stuff. You and I did play a lot.
Yeah.
But
we'll play again. It's just the core group was just used to faster pace. And
yeah, it's a different pace game. But
will
the
say
way
Sorry, before you go into your thing, I will say this. The reason I picked I pick Call of Duty is because as much as I do like all of the, I really liked the aspect of Battlefield because I found myself wanting to snipe a lot more in Battlefield, where you're just literally laying down, and you're sitting there for seriously like the whole match, like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're just getting maybe, at least this is the way I played, 6, 7 kills. But those kills feel good when you get them. But that said, I liked the feeling of my bullets connecting with my target better in Call of Duty than I do in Battlefield.
Sure.
I don't know what it is, but I just and there have been
like you said,
yeah.
Call of Duty, they've got it down to science. They know how to do it.
There have been games in the Call of Duty series that are better than others. Even in that area, feeling that connection better. But I like the feeling of maybe it's just I don't know what it is in the controller, the way the controller feels, the way it feels when I see the hit marker better when I'm playing Call of Duty. But still, again, and you're going to say what you were going to say, I don't want to take away from that. I love Battlefield, and I'm very much looking forward to playing Battlefield.
Yeah, this one looks good. The trailers have been very intriguing. I'm excited to see the World War I stuff. It looks great. It looks.
Oh my gosh, it looks incredible.
The
freaking trailer with the horses shooting guys off the horses in the desert.
If there's a guy in a building sniping at you and you're in a tank or whatever, go just blow the building up. That's how you get rid of him.
Yeah, or what do they call it?
Levolution.
Evolution. That's something that Modern Warfare doesn't have, but it's just absolutely incredible. Yep. Evolution is something that the game Evo from back in the day has. Do you remember the game Evo? Do you remember the game Evo?
No. I know of it. I don't think I ever played it.
It was a very fun game where you started off basically as a sea creature, and you tried to evolve into a bigger sea creature. Then you eventually got legs and arms, and it was very in depth for me being a young kid at that age. But it really interested me. Anyways, shout out to Evo. E.V.O.
Is that your
long form?
Would that maybe be the game you've chosen for Game Scoops? 20 questions.
Shoot.
You blew it.
It was.
You blew it.
No, it wasn't.
All right, so this is Dave's week to choose the game for Game Scoops 20 questions.
Scoop.
I was wondering if he was going to miss it this week.
Yeah, the goop of Scoop. So we're going to go ahead and choose the game and guess it real good, just like last week. So Josh, I need a repeat from you.
Go.
Okay. Dave, in this game,
go. So make it good.
Yeah.
Do you? Yeah, gotta make it a good one. Let's see. In this game,
yes.
Do you?
Well, that's my answer. Yes.
Let's see. I can't think of anything weird. So I'll think of something weird later. Did this game come out before January? Did this game come out before January 1st, 2000?
It did.
Okay, did this game come out before January 1st, 1990?
It did not.
So after 1990, before 2000. Do you shoot a gun in this game?
No.
Is this part of a series?
I believe so. Yes. I will give you a hint. I don't know if this might even hurt you, but it's not. It's a series, but it's not a series in the sense of, what you would technically think is a series.
That
I don't know
is not helpful. Do you?
Was that question 3? Yeah,
4.
So this is question 4, right?
I'll take an extra question, but it's question 5.
This is question 5.
Is
no
this
cheating, Chad? Even though
was
I'm German.
This a
American? had to pee so bad.
You're squirming. Was this a? Did this come out on a Nintendo console?
Yes.
Okay.
I already answered. Sorry. I'd like to help you out.
I should have clarified my question. But that's fine. We'll take it.
Is this a platformer?
No.
Not a platformer. Came out on a Nintendo console. Da 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 da. You don't shoot a gun. Not a platformer. Do you play as a human?
What?
It's kind of up in the air. I honestly didn't. I don't know why I didn't foresee that question.
What? Why? Why is this hard?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know. You could be.
Okay.
Again, not helpful.
Are you in a vehicle of some sort in this game?
No.
Okay. What?
Do you wear clothes in this game?
You do wear clothes. Are you keeping track of these questions? Because I'm using one hand to kind of like pinch myself off.
I'm writing them down.
I don't have enough to point.
Well, so you do wear clothes.
Yes. Of some sort.
What? You're not in a vehicle. It's not a platformer. Don't shoot guns. You do wear clothes. It's kind of a series, maybe. Might be a human. Don't know.
It definitely is a series.
But not what we think of as a series.
Right.
Whatever that means.
I mean, let me give you more of a hint. It's not it's not a series in the sense of like, one game follows the next game in like a storyline.
Okay. Is this a part of a franchise?
Yeah. I mean, to me that's like almost the same question as a.
No, a franchise is like a movie game, or it's based off another property that already exists. Or
I always thought that was a licensed property.
I'm sorry, that's the question I meant to ask. You're right. A franchise and a series are the same. I mean license. You're right.
It's not a licensed property.
Okay, that was the question
I meant. We still don't have a genre. How many questions we got?
That was 10.
Not a platformer. I'm assuming since you don't shoot a gun, it's not a shooter. Is this a puzzle game?
No, not by genre.
Okay.
That may have confused you more than I meant it to hell, but it's a good game.
Do you play as an animal?
No.
Not a shooter, not a puzzle game, not a platformer. Maybe kind of a human.
It's unknown. It's unknown. Like, this is another hint because I feel like this is a great game. I loved this game. I don't know if you guys played it. I loved it. And it is a well-known game. But you can't really tell if the character is like human. I mean, that doesn't mean it's obviously you asked if it's an animal. It's not. But you can't tell if it's like, you know. Yeah, I guess you assume it's male. I'm giving you a lot of hints here, but because I feel like it's such a good game, I want you guys to guess it. I want you guys to get it.
Is it a side? No, if it's a side scroller, it would almost certainly be a platformer, right, Chad?
Either that or it could be a brawler. Brawler wouldn't be a platformer. Those are usually side-scrolling also.
I should just ask that question. Is it a brawler, Dave?
No.
So it's most likely not a side-scroller of any kind. Are there games in this series or franchise still around on the current gen systems?
I do not think so. Let me do a quick check. I do not think so. I'm going to like branch off of the yes or no and say that a game in this franchise is playable via backwards compatibility.
Okay.
But otherwise no.
Okay.
Is this... You're not in a vehicle, right, Chad? You asked that question?
I did ask that question. That was a no.
I was going to ask if it was a racer. Not a puzzle game, not a platformer, not a shooter, not a brawler.
This is a genre. This is a genre that is not typically said much. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had one of these genres in our Game Scoops 20 questions before. If that should help narrow or eliminate some things. Because you've got 6 questions?
Yeah.
This is
RPG or turn-based, maybe, Chad? It could be like a strategy turn-based.
Could be a strategy, maybe. Yeah.
Is this a RTS game, Dave? Real-time strategy?
No.
I'm striking out today.
That was a good guess, though. I don't think we've had one of those. I don't know if we've had one of those yet. I can't remember. Maybe we have.
Was this game that you have, was it developed? Was it a Nintendo developed game?
Mm-mm.
What?
No. Sorry.
Not a Nintendo developed game. If we could get perspective or genre down, that would help me a lot. And I'm striking out with every genre, I'm guessing.
Perspective, I think, would help.
Is it a top-down game?
Yes. Top-down game that's not RTS.
SimCity? Josh? You done anything like that?
Is SimCity not an RTS? I guess it wouldn't be.
No, I think the genre...
That's a sim.
The genre for that would be a sim.
Simulation. Because you don't shoot a gun, not a platformer, not in a vehicle. You never really see your character, though, so I don't know if you wear clothes. So you don't really... I mean, you're the mayor of, like, SimCity on the Super Nintendo, you're mayor.
Yeah, in SimCity, I would assume that all the characters are human.
Okay.
right?
Was StarCraft on a Nintendo? They had StarCraft, right? But that's RTS for sure.
Yeah.
That's definitely RTS.
I don't know. Suggestions? I don't know what to ask.
Well, if it's top down, but not a shooter. I mean, it could be a dungeon crawler, 90s Nintendo game.
That's also
Dungeon
backwards compatible on the Xbox One right now.
Yeah, not the. Let me
It's top
specify
down.
and say
That
I did say a
franchise.
game in the franchise, so not
right.
this.
Not this specific game, right? But something that's playable.
I'm going off top down. I'm trying to think of what genre a top down game would be. It'd be like dungeon crawler or like maybe an adventure game.
Dig Dug? Is that would you consider that top down?
I don't feel like Dig Dug is top down.
No.
I feel like that's. It's not necessarily
Bomberman?
a side scroller, but
Bomberman.
oh, Bomberman. Is that not
Dave,
a
are
puzzle
there-
game? What genre would that be?
Are there bombs in this game, Dave?
There are.
It's Bomberman.
Dude, nice guess. I don't even know. Oh man.
Do we have to be careful of any specifics on that? I don't know if there are definite.
I don't know how many there were.
What
in the
question are
90s.
you on?
We're on 19.
Oh gosh, are you seriously?
Yeah, this one. Then that next one will be
Saved
19.
Is this the first game in the is this the first game of the? No wait. 90s? Yeah, 90s.
So
Is this
90s.
the first game of the franchise?
Yes.
So it's just Bomberman then, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume.
Dave, is this game Bomberman?
I'm going to give it to you. It's Super Bomberman.
Super, because of the Super Nintendo.
It is, but it's the first game in the series. It is Super Bomberman. Yep. Genre is action, maze.
Man, that's crazy.
And I loved this game.
I have spent some time with this game. I like it.
I remember you and TJ playing this a lot on the 360.
When I go back to... Wait, me and TJ? I forgot we did do that, didn't we?
We
Oh
even
my
did
gosh,
it
I
once or
loved
twice.
it.
4 players.
I forgot it was on the 360. When I would go back to back to Michigan for the 4th of July and go to my grandparents' cottage, they have an original Sega Genesis there, and they have an original SNES there, and Bomberman is there for the SNES, and the other game that we play on Genesis, I think, what's that game called? Like Gundam Heroes or something like that, which is another fun game. But Super Bomberman, man, so much chaotic fun, especially with that 4-player multi-tap.
Yeah.
Just playing with your friends. It's so cool. Just because you're all on the same screen, and there's no, it doesn't matter for screen cheating because you're just, it's so fun. I loved it. I wish it was readily available for me to play today.
Well, you
the
can
game-
on your Xbox One.
Well, yeah. The game that is on the Xbox One,
Not exactly the same, sure.
via backwards compatible is, I closed it, but it is Bomberman Live Battlefest is the one that's on backwards compatible. It doesn't look the same to me. It's kind of like top down at an angle, more,
Right.
a little bit. I'm sure it's still probably fun, but gosh, that Super Bomberman,
Cool.
that's fun.
Chad,
I'm glad you guys got it. Oh wow.
I'm
Great
so impressed
last-minute
that
save.
you got that. That's crazy.
I don't know what triggered it, but the top-down stuff. And then I started thinking old school 90s things, and then that's where I thought Dig Dug and Pac-Man came to my mind. And then I said Dig Dug, and you're like, no, that's not Bomberman, or that's not top-down. And I do remember that's definitely like a side view.
Yeah.
I kept thinking in that like type of game, and it just popped in my head.
I remember that music
nice
like
pull.
like over and over and over and
Yeah,
over.
it's
and
a very repetitive
bombing
way to do that.
people,
Yeah.
punching bombs up over the edge and back,
Cool.
getting the power ups to where your bomb flame like goes the whole length of the board.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice. All right. Well, I think
Good
that's
job, guys. Good job.
yeah.
That was all
that's
Chad.
gonna do it. Well, it took a village to guess that one. That's gonna do it this week, guys. Episode 80 is in the books.
Woo!
Hey, Dave. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast this week.
Hey, man.
Thanks for picking a real good game.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it wouldn't be the same without you.
I've really enjoyed doing this.
Josh,
Yes.
thanks, man.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad to be here. And you know what? Thank you, Chad.
My pleasure.
Chad.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Something else. I don't know the words or the tune either. I just know the first literally the 3 parts of that song. There's a song that starts off by going thanks. Thanks a lot.
Huh.
And then it keeps saying other things.
Huh.
Our very old listeners will. You know,
Wow.
I
Well,
mean,
now
like,
you just offended them all.
like very respectable, like old meaning wise in the years, right?
Hoary-headed, if you will.
Yeah, like.
So, Josh,
Yes.
are there anybody else that aren't old and probably don't know what Dave's talking about, just like we don't, that we would like to thank?
Well, everyone that's totally not old that we need to thank is as follows. Mr. General Lee Accepted, a.k.a. Evan Steele, our very first OG Patreon supporter. We very much appreciate his support and his encouragement and his positive feedback and all of the wonderfulness that he brings to all of our lives. We love him a lot. Thank you very much, Mr. Evan Steele. We also have Mr. Jake Steele, a.k.a. Paco, Mr. Andrew Complin, who has brought our attention to some very essential items over the last few weeks, Mr. Ryland Aller, and the always beautiful and lovely, but has a cold, and so she lost her voice, Cecilia Choi.
Oh.
Get better.
Yeah, she's not feeling so hot right now, but she'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We very much appreciate your support. And you guys are literally making the podcast happen for everybody else. And so we appreciate it, and I'm sure they appreciate it, because we turn your support into podcast hosting and giveaways and other things. And it's awesome.
Truth.
Thanks, everybody. See you
Thanks
next
a
week.
lot.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Piece of pizza. I gotta pee so bad. Bye.
Stop the he just ran away.
Well,
Recording is still happening for him. Okay, then. That's what happens. Bye, YouTube. It's been
bye.
great.